Wesley was definitely the most enigmatic and fun person to speak to. And so far, you guys are pretty top tier. Would definitely recommend you guys. Your people that onboarded us, they were very clear about the instructions. The onboarding process was super smooth, which is really, really important. But your price point was definitely something that was really convincing for my team to go through, just because, again, we are a startup. And so pricing does matter. We discovered really quickly, actually, within the first 2 weeks of working with you, we immediately started to see responses from the campaigns that we ran. You guys were super hands-on. Good morning. As I say, if you got a sick shirt on, you guys look great.
It's good to see you. We'll start by asking you who you are, what's your position, where you work at.
My name is Ryan Heschmat. I'm the head of growth and marketing at MyFieldAudits. We leverage software for SaaS companies, as well as senior living, as well as food service management.
Awesome. You came to us for some help in terms of accelerating top of the funnel. What were you doing to accelerate top of the funnel before working with us?
Yeah, we did a lot of social media outbound. We definitely leverage LinkedIn. We've done things like direct mail, things of that nature. But most of what we did was just inbound and organic things. And so email was our first, we knew had to be the tip of the spear. And so I looked around and when I first learned about Clay and the Clay products, the first thing that we learned about was go-to-market engineering and how that works towards email. And so I looked around a bit, spoke to a couple different agencies, and Wesley was definitely the most enigmatic and fun person to speak to. And so we had that conversation going. You guys seem to have everything in place. You seem to be on top of it, but your price point was definitely something that was really convincing for my team to go through, just because, again, we are a startup, and so pricing does matter.
Awesome. So just to summarize, what were the problems you were trying to solve in terms of coming to us, and what were you trying, and your frustrations overall in terms of that Clay, getting into Clay and getting into this cold outbound world?
Yeah, so to answer your first question, I guess the problem, we weren't trying to solve a problem, but what we were trying to do is we were trying to 10x our lead generation, right? So growth in a sense, and that's why we came to you guys for email. What was the second question?
But what were your frustrations in terms of getting to that 10x of lead generation? What are some blockers that you were finding?
I guess, yeah. So I guess volume, right? You need to do outbound on a volume. You need to do it at scale, and we couldn't do that with LinkedIn, especially just because LinkedIn is just slow. Social media in itself works, but it's not what we necessarily needed to do. Our ICP, we discovered really quickly, actually, within the first 2 weeks of working with you guys. A little preemptive, but it's the majority of our ICP lives on email. They respond on email. That's where they are at. And so, even though our campaign with you guys was very short-lived, it showed me really quickly that if we really wanted to increase our lead gen, we had to go through email, and we had to do it in a very strategic way, where some of these people just need to be outbound into numerous times in different ways, right? And so that approach is what's most important right now.
Awesome. Yeah. So now moving on to, our partnership, just wanted you to share some, what results did you achieve? What do you think the impact of working with us has been or was during our partnership?
Yeah. And again, like I said, unfortunately, our partnership was short-lived, and that's on our end. But what we did realize was that we immediately started to see responses from the campaigns that we ran with you guys. That was the most important thing. The positive response rates were still decent for what they were based off of email standards. But what was most important to me was, how do I find the phishing spots, right? How do I figure out where I can find the most amount of people that will respond to my copy, to my inquiries, and essentially be able to give us a response and, become an actual certified lead, right? And it quickly turned out it was email. And so the amount of responses that we got in the first 2 weeks of working with you guys, again, based off of a very, very highly tailored lead list that I provided, was a confirmation that email is the right way to go about these campaigns, and that whatever strategy you guys were implementing for your go-to-market, email is working.
Awesome. And then in a few words, if you could describe how it was working with us, that would be great.
Yeah, you guys were super hands-on. Our company, what we like to talk about is we hate anything that's DIY, that's do it yourself, right? And you guys were very good at doing the opposite of that. You guys handled everything for us. Saif, our account manager, was on top of it. And, my schedule was pretty hectic. And so he had to remind me consistently, and he was on top of it. Your people that onboarded us, they were very clear about the instructions. The onboarding process was super smooth, which is really, really important, because if the onboarding process sucks, then everything is confusing. And we don't know how to best leverage your tools and your people and your skill sets, right? Your whole process was great.
Awesome. How likely are you to recommend us, Ryan?
I'm likely to use you again, to be honest. I'll probably reach back out and we'll work again. And yeah, absolutely. I would definitely recommend you guys.
Awesome. And then on the last note, and we really appreciate this time, is what can we improve? We really appreciate this feedback.
I think you guys bring a lot of great tools to the table. I guess a little bit more clarity would be helpful when it comes to things like the structuring of the lead list, right? Like when we're coming up with leads and when we're figuring out who is it that we want to target, right? I think having a more centralized way to have clarity and visibility for both sides to see exactly who we're targeting is really important. And I mentioned that to Saif a couple of times, and then he immediately was on it and he created a doc for me and he shared it. So that was really helpful. Just small gaps of visibility, I think, is the best way to improve. But so far, you guys are pretty top tier.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Ryan. That's all the questions that we had. I think I was talking to Saif and really enjoyed working with you, and it's a shame, but always here if you want to reach back out. But appreciate this time, Ryan, and we hope your team does the best. But appreciate it, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys as well, and I hope you guys do really well in the future. And I do see a bright future for you guys, especially with the way AI is going to be going. So I think you guys will do great.
Awesome. Wishing you all the best as well. Thank you, Ryan, and have a great rest of the day.
All right, buddy. You too. I'll see you safe.